Welcome. This is your Need to Know. This is an episode recap, so there will be spoilers, sweetie. Music by Sisters AI Rhythmic. Check them out on YouTube.
This is your Need to Know.
Spoiler, sweetie.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Tonight, we're going to be looking at fan reactions for What We Do in the Shadows.
Ooh.
Season 6, Episode 9.
Okay.
Come out and play.
All right.
Now, for anybody who hasn't seen it, this episode really throws our Staten Island vampires into some chaos.
Yeah.
When they get framed for murder
Oh, no.
and have to escape across New York City. Try to get to Staten Island.
Wow.
We pulled a bunch of insights from a Reddit discussion thread.
Oh, cool.
On What We Doing to Shadows.
Nice.
And let me tell you, things got pretty passionate. Get ready for some really surprising comparisons to movies like The Warriors.
Oh, wow.
A cameo that broke the internet.
Well, what?
And even a debate about the purpose of a certain character who meets a very untimely end.
Oh, no.
So I'm really excited to break it all down with you and see what we can learn about the show and its fandom.
Well, you know, it's really fascinating how these online communities like Reddit have become such vibrant spaces for fans, especially for cult hit shows like What We Do in the Shadows. It's like where they go to dissect every little detail and share theories and celebrate all those inside jokes that only true fans would catch.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's unpack some of this. One thing that jumped out at me from this Reddit thread was the sheer amount of praise for the episode's humor.
Right.
Fans were raving about writing the jokes Laszlo's delivery.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that bat gag.
Oh, my God.
Bar comedy gold.
It's so good.
So good.
And, you'll see why fans loved Colin Robinson in this episode. His deadpan reactions to all the escalating chaos perfectly highlight the absurdity of the situation, making his dry humor even funnier by contrast.
Oh, yeah. It's his calmness makes everything around him seem even more ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of ridiculous, the episode's homage to the Warriors was a huge hit.
Yes.
Fans notice all those little nods, from the vampire gangs to the music choices.
Oh, yeah.
It was very clear.
The Warriors' influence isn't just superficial. The episode actually borrows the film's visual style and pacing.
Okay. It creates this heightened sense of urgency that mirrors the vampire's desperate flight.
I felt that, too. It's like they managed to capture the energy of that classic film while still staying true to the show's own unique style.
Yeah.
And, some fans even drew comparisons to another vampire flick, Underworld.
Interesting.
One viewer pointed out that the guide's platform boots were very similar to Selena's from those movies.
Oh, wow.
Talk about attention to detail.
Exactly. These positive reactions really speak volumes about what fans value in the show. Clever writing, witty dialogue, and a healthy dose of cinematic references.
Oh, for sure. And let's not forget the cameo appearance of Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh, my God, yes.
The internet practically exploded when he popped up as a vampire at the gathering.
The Skarsgård cameo is brilliant. It speaks to the show's awareness of its own fandom and the larger vampire genre.
Yeah.
It's like a fun little wink for viewers in the know, especially those familiar with his iconic role as Eric Northman in True Blood. It's like the showrunners knew exactly what the fans would go crazy for.
It also demonstrates how What We Do in the Shadows isn't afraid to embrace its place within the broader vampire pop culture landscape.
For sure. And it wasn't the only unexpected crossover moment.
Oh.
Fans also picked up on Laszlo's repeated use of lines from that classic Australian viral video.
Oh, really?
Succulent Chinese meal. And I see you know your judo well.
That's hilarious. So good. That detail about the guide's boots blew my mind. It shows how much thought goes into even the smallest visual cues. This is a great example of how What We Do in the Shadows rewards dedicated fans who catch those subtle references. It adds another layer of humor and creates a sense of shared inside jokes between the show and its audience.
Absolutely. Speaking of inside jokes, we have to talk about some of the more divisive elements of this episode.
Okay.
The biggest one, the sudden demise of Jerry. Some fans found it shocking and effective, like a real shakeup in the vampire hierarchy. But others questioned the point of even introducing him only to eliminate him so quickly.
It seems fans are craving more depth, more exploration of his inner conflicts and the challenges he faces as a reluctant slayer.
Yeah.
This raises an important question about fan expectations and character arcs. Viewers often develop attachments to characters, even minor ones, and their sudden removal can feel jarring or unearned.
Yeah, I can see both sides of that.
Mm.
On the one hand, it was definitely unexpected,
Mm-hmm.
and it added to the episode's chaotic energy.
Sure.
But on the other hand, I can understand why some viewers felt like it came out of nowhere.
Right. It highlights the importance of balancing surprise with a sense of narrative coherence, ensuring that even shocking twists feel grounded in the story's internal logic.
For sure. Yeah, it's a tough balance to strike, for sure. And while we're on the topic of things that divided fans,
Okay.
we have to address the ongoing saga of Laszlo and Nadja's relationship.
Right.
Some viewers are getting a bit tired of their constant bickering, while others found it hilarious in this episode's context.
You know, we're seeing a trend where viewers are becoming more vocal about their desire for character growth, especially in long-running series. The challenge for the writers is to keep those dynamics fresh and entertaining, without undermining the character's development or falling into repetitive patterns.
Yeah, I can see that it's like you want the characters to stay true to themselves, but you also want to see them evolve and grow over time.
Exactly.
Speaking of evolving, one fan theory that caught my eye
Okay.
involved the volleyball team that we briefly glimpsed in the background.
Oh.
They speculated that the team might have been turned into vampires by Jim the Vampire. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
From a previous season?
Oh, that's a good theory.
Right.
That's a great example of how fans actively engage with the show, looking for connections and crafting their own interpretations. It speaks to the richness of what we do in the Shadows universe and the depth of the fan base's knowledge.
Yeah, it's like they're piecing together a giant puzzle, finding clues and hidden meanings in every scene.
Right.
This is your need to know. This is your need to know. This is your need to know. This is your need to know.
Did you notice that there wasn't a mid-credit scene in this episode?
I did.
For a show that usually loves those little bonus moments?
Yeah.
It felt like something was missing.
Yeah. Maybe the creators are holding back, saving something special for the final episodes.
Ooh.
Or maybe they just wanted to leave us with a cliffhanger, prompting us to ponder the implications of what we've just witnessed.
Ooh, good point.
Yeah.
It's like they're encouraging us to come up with our own theories and headcanons, which, let's be honest, is half the fun of being a fan.
Yeah.
Shifting gears a bit,
Okay.
some fans on Reddit expressed a desire for stronger, season-long plot arcs. They felt like this season has been a bit aimless, lacking the direction of previous seasons.
It's understandable that fans have certain expectations for a show's final season, particularly when it comes to tying up loose ends and providing closure for beloved characters.
Yeah.
But what we do in the Shadows has always been a show. That embraces the absurd, the unexpected, and the delightfully chaotic.
It's true, and maybe that's the point. Maybe this final season is less about reaching a specific destination and more about enjoying the wild ride.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I do miss those intricate plot lines that had us on the edge of our seats.
It's a delicate balance, for sure, and it's worth considering that the creators might be intentionally opting for a more character-driven approach. In this final season, allowing us to savor these last moments with our favorite Staten Island vampires.
You know, you're right. Maybe we need to adjust our expectations a bit and just soak it all and embrace the absurdity, the humor, and the sheer brilliance of these characters.
Yeah.
Speaking of brilliance, can we talk about Laszlo's one-liners?
Oh my God.
I was dying when he said, "I see you know your judo well."
So good.
It's like he's a walking encyclopedia of pop culture references.
It's one of the things that makes Laszlo such a memorable character. His ability to weave those unexpected quotes and references into his dialogue. So seamlessly, it's almost like he's winking at the audience, acknowledging the shared cultural space we inhabit.
I love that it creates this sense of intimacy, like we're in on the joke with him.
Exactly.
But on a more serious note,
Okay.
there was one recurring theme in the Reddit thread that we can't ignore. The desire for more satisfying conclusion to Guillermo's arc.
Right.
His journey from familiar to vampire hunter has been one of the most compelling aspects of the show.
Absolutely. Guillermo's transformation has resonated with viewers on a deep level. He's gone from a meek familiar to a reluctant slayer grappling with his own identity and his complex relationship with Nandor.
Yeah.
It's a story that speaks to our own struggles with self-discovery and the challenges of embracing our true selves.
Exactly. And with the series coming to an end, fans are eager to see his journey culminate in a meaningful way. Will he finally find peace with his duality? Will he embrace his destiny as a vampire hunter? Or will he forge a new path altogether?
These are questions that have been simmering for seasons, and the anticipation is palpable. The writers have set the stage for a truly impactful resolution, and it'll be fascinating to see how they choose to bring Guillermo's story to a close.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what the future holds for Guillermo, doesn't it? And for all of our Staten Island vampires, one fan on Reddit even posed the question like, what happens to them once the cameras stop rolling?
Right.
Do they stay in Staten Island? Do they finally achieve world domination?
It's the beauty of open endings, isn't it? They invite the audience to imagine their own continuations of the story.
Yeah.
Maybe these vampires just fade into obscurity, their chaotic lives becoming nothing more than a strange footnote in history.
Or maybe they become even more legendary, their stories growing more outrageous with each passing century. And speaking of outrageous stories, there was a lot of chatter on Reddit about potential spin-offs.
Oh, really?
Or special episodes. Someone even suggested a crossover with True Blood.
The possibilities are endless.
I know.
It shows how invested the What We Do in the Shadows fandom is. They're not passive viewers, they're active participants in keeping the spirit of the show alive.
It's like they formed their own coven, dedicated to celebrating these characters and this world.
Yeah.
And it's not just talk, either. Some fans have even created amazing fan art and fan fiction inspired by the show.
It's a testament to the creativity and passion of the fandom. They're not just consuming content, they're contributing to its legacy.
That's true. And that brings us to our final takeaway from this deep dive into fan reactions. While Come Out and Play definitely sparked some debate, it undeniably generated a ton of buzz and engagement.
So true.
Exactly. Even in its final season, What We Do in the Shadows is still a cultural phenomenon, proving that it's more than just a show, it's a community. And that's a real testament to the creators, writers, and cast.
Yeah.
They've given us this hilarious, heartwarming, and wonderfully weird world, filled with vampires, familiars, and endless laughter.
And the beauty of it is, even after the credits roll on the series finale, that world will continue to live on in the hearts and minds of the fans.
So true. And on that note, we want to leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
If you could pitch an idea for What We Do in the Shadows spinoff or a special episode, what would it be? And why? Let us know in the comments, and maybe your idea will inspire the next chapter in this wonderfully weird vampire saga. Until then, may your nights be filled with laughter, garlic-free snacks, and maybe even a cheeky cameo or two.
This is your need to know.
In the shadows we wait, in the shadows we move, in the shadows we hunger, and the night is ours. In the night we rise, in the night we roam, in the night we find what we call home. A king of the dark, with an iron will, bound by blood, lost in a love as deep as the flood. In the shadows what we do, in the shadows we feed, in the shadows we take all that we need. Bound by the night, we carry the weight. In the shadows we walk beyond death, beyond fate. The doll stares back with hollow eyes, a voice from the past that never dies. Blade in hand, a shadow himself by his master's command. Speaking voices low, laws carved in stone, decrees that glow. In silence we feed, in silence we dream, in silence we walk where shadows dream. In the dark we move, in the dark we hide, in the dark we live, and there we abide. In the shadows what we do, in the shadows we feed, in the shadows we take all that we need. Bound by the night, we carry the weight. In the shadows we walk beyond death, beyond fate. In the shadows what we do, in the shadows we fall, in the shadows we are hiding, in the shadows we are all, and the night is ours. In the shadows, what we do, in the shadows, we fall. In the shadows, we are hiding. In the shadows